Do small changes to a motorcycle make it more appealing? Watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So, do small changes to a motorcycle model, does it make any difference? Does it change your enthusiasm to go and buy it? I'm talking about brand new bikes here. So, BMW recently released their R18. Now, I'm not picking on BMW here because all the motorcycle manufacturers, and I dare say a lot of car manufacturers do this as well. In that year on year with the models, they don't really change them a lot. In most cases, they do incremental changes, and at some point they might do quite a big change, a substantial change, but for the most part they're always small changes. The rest of the bike, the rest of the car, is pretty much exactly the same, but they might change a little bit. So here, BMW with the R18, I think they've changed a few things to better match up with Euro 5 emissions control in Europe. So they've tweaked the engine a little bit, and I think the power's the same, but I think the torque coming out is about 5 newton meters more torque. It's not a great deal of difference. In fact, fundamentally, the bike's exactly the same. Yes, they might have new paint schemes and things like that, different accessories, but the actual motorcycle is the same. So my question to you is, these motorcycles, as we know, are all expensive. New motorcycles are all expensive, or certainly of that size they are. And you kind of wonder, well, as a buyer, would I be so interested in have a 2025 bike R18 as opposed to a 2024 bike, or 2023, 2022, whatever it is, if they're exactly the same bike? What about, why would I buy a brand new bike when I can just go into the used bike market, get a really low mileage bike, 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, and and pay a fraction of the cost? So this has always been my argument with brand new motorcycles. What is going to draw me as a brand new customer, or as a new customer to the brand, or to want to go and buy a brand new bike, that's going to make me really want to buy one, as opposed to buying a used bike or buying a motorcycle from another brand. There's got to be something that draws you in. So let's just say in the case of the BMW R18, maybe you like that cruiser style, maybe you like that. So your competition obviously is Harley-Davidson, is Indian motorcycles, Triumph maybe to a certain degree. But that is where your kind of market is in terms of the Western manufacturers, European manufacturers and the American manufacturers. So you kind of think, well, okay, do I like BMW? So tick, that's yes, I do. Do I like the R18? Yes, tick. Do I like the different variations of the models? Yes, tick. Now, different model years. Do I want that bike over that bike? And it could be, no, it's a big fat X, because it's just not worth it. And that's just like buying an iPhone, right? Or any kind of phone. You think, you know what? Some people will religiously buy a new phone or a new bike or a new car every model year. They'll keep up with the model years. Other people will say, no, this is perfectly great for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatever it is. I don't need to. I don't need to buy every model year. I'll just wait 2 or 3 years, and I'll just wait for the big jump, or the big difference between my model year and the current model year. And I've got to say, that's the way I would see it as well. Why would I go and buy a brand new bike with hardly any changes to it? The only thing that's going to be different on that bike is, well, maybe different paint scheme. It's going to be new, in inverted commas. Nobody else would have ridden it before. So, that's the thing that you're buying, but the bike is exactly the same. And I just don't think that BMW with this R18 have made anything substantially different for me to want to choose a 2025 bike over a 2024 bike. Now, you could, as I say, you could say this about lots of motorcycle manufacturers. In fact, some model years, they tend to go backwards in their, how favorable they are seen by potential customers. Harley-Davidson have always done this. In terms of each model year, they'll have specific components that only fit that model year. They redesign something, here and there. It's a small, relatively insignificant thing, especially if it's kind of accessories and stuff like that. but they only fit that particular model year or a very narrow window of years of a certain model. Or they'll make you believe that's the case as well. I mean, a lot of the times you can buy these parts and you can make them fit a little bit, especially if they're on the outside of the bike, the periphery of the bike. But in terms of as a practice, yeah, all automotive manufacturers do this. Bikes, cars, trucks, whatever. I'm sure they all do it to a certain degree. It used to be a case that, especially in automotive manufacturers, they would bring out new cars, new bikes every year, every other year. There would be substantial changes between them. But, they're just not doing it. The cost of producing bikes and brand new models, brand new cars, it's a difficult thing to pull off these days. So you kind of ask yourself, well, the motorcycling especially, I feel, is in a kind of bit of a no man's land right now in terms of what's the draw for people wanting to buy a brand new motorcycle, especially with all the economic things that have been going on for the last couple of years and the uncertainty in the world and everything. Are you going to put your money in a brand new motorcycle that hasn't really substantially changed than the previous year? Or are you just going to stick with what you've got or go with an older model? I was talking all last year about Harley Davidson, this kind of weird pull. Do I go to a new bike or do I just go to an older bike? And I was always saying, just go to an older bike. You just get much more value on an older bike. And I've got to say here with the R18, I feel exactly the same. I'm a fan of BMW. I'm a fan of the R18. I think I like the bike. It's quirky, it's weird, it's quirky, it's different. But in terms of where the value is in terms of buying a bike like that with only a small change, if you're not that concerned about that small change, the value is going to be in the 2024, 2023, 2022 bikes, whatever. Now, value is subjective. It really depends what you want to place in it, how much value you put in it. But in terms of like for like, yes, there's a little bit of a change, but is it anything that much? I always question it. I always question what is a draw to me. Now, if I'm going this as a new customer, I say, I think I like an R18. Oh, I think I'm going to buy a new bike. I probably am going to buy the new bike because I'm not even going to think about all the old bikes. All I want in my mind is the latest bike, the latest technology, the latest design, whatever. But if you follow motorcycles at all, sometimes you'll see, and as I mentioned this earlier on, that they tend to go backwards sometimes. Sometimes you see, okay, well, they've just released this bike. This is a 2025 bike. This is the latest version. And then you read up in the comments or previous years and say, well, actually, there was a bike 2 years ago, which is better than this. People rode it and they love it and they think this is a much, much better. I remember Kawasaki ZX-10s. There was a model year, I can't remember, it was the 2008 or 2009 or could have been 7. And that bike was regarded as a great bike for many, many years. In fact, better than the subsequent years as well. I could be wrong with the years there, but let us know in the comments below. But there's been a whole host of bikes that a previous year was deemed to be a much better bike than the later years. So buying a brand new bike is not always the answer. It's not always the best thing, especially if there isn't any substantial change. Unless you just want a brand new bike, well, that's just cool. That's what you want. Fine. But in terms of, is it a better bike? Is it the best bike to draw you in with a minor change? I'm not so sure. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, just keep on watching the videos and don't forget the links in the description below for all my motorcycle books, service books, tour books, whatever it is you want. On the website, RevelatorAlf.com/books. They're direct on Amazon as well. All the links are there. Go check it out in the description. Right. And with that, I'm going to go and tinker on my old bike, not my new bike. Catch you again. Bye now.